everybody, this is Kim from Crafty Kim, and I'm coming to you with a bunch of different books for Black History Month on Langston Hughes. So when I was in 7th grade, my English teacher made us all memorize and then present a poem. The poem that I had to present was Dreams by Langston Hughes. This was, traumatic like it would be for most 7th graders, but the poem stayed with me my entire life. It's actually one of the things I use to start my school year out every year with my students. I tell them that they all are allowed to have dreams, and then I go through Langston Hughes' poem and we talk about it. So I'm going to provide you guys some different examples of books for your different age groups. So the first 3 books I have are great for toddlers through about grade 3 and on up if they enjoy this sort of picture book. So the first book is this one right here, and it is called Lullaby for a Black Mother. This poem by Langston Hughes is incredibly beautiful and lyrical. So I love the way that the illustrator illustrated this poem. So I'm going to read a couple of pages. So it says, "What shall I sing for your lullaby?" And I just love the, funky pictures. Stars, stars, a necklace of stars, winding the night. And so this just gives you a little bit about the illustrations and just the lyrical nature of this book. This would be a beautiful book. It comes in a board book also. This would be an awesome book for babies on up to about grade 3. This one is called I Too Am America. And it follows a Pullman porter, through his journey. So the pictures are very interesting. This one is great for toddlers through probably 5th or 6th grade because there's a hidden meaning behind the pictures. So when you take a look, starting about right here, I'll take that off, you're going to follow this porter as he's picking up the people, the white Caucasian people who were riding in these well-appointed train cars, and he's picking up after him. And then he's tossing their trash, which the African American population didn't have access to. Time magazine, newspapers, all those sorts of things. They didn't have as ready access to the people to be picked up. And so there's a great hidden message in the photographs. Oh, this one is absolutely gorgeous. The Negro Speaks of Rivers. So the first 3 books are all single poems by Langston Hughes. And this one is just gorgeous. So I love the stunning, absolutely stunning watercolors. So I've known rivers as ancient as the world. And then one more page I wanted to show. And older than the flow of blood in human veins. Just absolutely stunning watercolors showing life that Africans and African Americans have lived. The next book I bring to you is Langston Hughes' Great American Writer. This is an awesome book for ages probably 2nd to 4th or 5th grade or so. But my favorite part of this book is at the very end of the book, it takes you through a timeline. So it has a timeline of events in Langston Hughes' life, and it has events in the U.S. history. This would be something really fun to do with your own child or students in your class. Having them write up a list or have pictures brought in of lists of things that have happened in their own lives, as well as events in history. We just had a big one last year, the election. We've had all sorts of really great things. They might have had events in their lives, like somebody got married, or they moved, there might have been a move, or maybe they got a pet, or all of these different sorts of things. So they can take a look at events in their life versus events in the broader spectrum, and a great way to bring social studies and that kind of thing into the classroom. So, Langston's Train Ride. This is an interesting book. It's a fictionalized account of Langston's train ride when he was 18 from New York to Mexico to visit his father, with whom he was estranged. So it has, once again, gorgeous pictures, absolutely stunning artwork. And it takes you through the building of his first big poem, Negro Speaks of Rivers, and about how he thought of building up that idea of, I can be a writer, I can do this, I can do this thing, this amazing thing, and be a writer. Even though nobody in his life really supported him at that point in time for being a writer. So it also, if you love Langston Hughes' work, it has some different kind of like snapshots of poems that he was going to write. So I love this one because if you know his work, you'll find some little bits, you're like, ooh, that's a line from another one of his poems. And you'll be like, oh, I recognize that. So that's a fun one. Love to Langston. Okay, this is hands down my favorite one of the bunch. I'm going to quickly go over this one and then go over the last three super quick. So this one takes poems that Langston Hughes wrote, documenting different times in his life, such as Little Boy Blues, to first grade, to Jim Crow Row, and it takes some of the different things that he was going through in his life, all the way to like this last, where sometimes life ain't always a hoot, and it gives you the poem with a really interesting sort of illustration to go along with it, but this is my absolute favorite right here. So it takes each one of the poems and it gives you a little bit about what was going on in the U.S. and Langston Hughes' life. Maybe some of the things that might have pushed him to write these different poems. It tells you a little bit about his history, some of the things that were going on. So one of the things that I didn't know until I read this was in first grade, they were talking about how the schools were segregated and they were separated according to race. And they talked about the fact that in Jim Crow Row that he was expelled because the black students in his school brought in signs and picketed and said that this was not right. So I love this one. This is one that I'm actually going to read with my 4th grade daughter this year. And then just really quickly, the last ones are African American poetry, poetry for young people. And this is a great one. What I like about this one, is that, sorry, I just lost my spot that I marked. Okay, so each author has a little bit of an introduction as well as the poems that they do. Poetry for Young People, Langston Hughes. It's a collection of poetry and pictures from Langston Hughes. And finally, this is Tom Feeling's Soul Looks Back in Wonder. It's a collection of African American poets. It's a collection of African American poets. And here is a Langston Hughes page with beautiful artwork. Once again, interesting poetry. So thank you so much for watching. If you are looking for reading lists of things to read with your child, these are all interesting. These cover ages infants and toddlers all the way up to middle schoolers. I look forward to bringing you more of these library hauls because I went in and hauled out of the library all of these great books. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye. Go away, I told you I was making my video.
I didn't look at you until you stopped and looked at me.